Okay, welcome to Into the Channel, a podcast primarily about women's football. Before we hit the pitch, if you enjoy the show or love women's football as much as your boys do, come kick it with us already. Subscribe, follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen at ITC_pod on X. I am your host, Dino De Cespedes, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Grant Engel. What is up, man?
I'm feeling fantastic, buddy. We're entering a new frontier here in Into the Channel. So I'm excited to present these scientific findings that we have stumbled upon.
I love it. Let's embark. Where do you want to get started?
Okay, so one of the things, let me just get this out of the way here because this is important. There we go. One of the things I love about football is that every team is compared against every other team in the league table. In most leagues, there aren't usually divisions within the same league. There aren't conferences. Every team plays each other twice. You count up the wins, draws, and losses. You account for the goals scored for and against. You calculate the differential, and voila. You establish where teams are ranked, and you decide who is the best team over the course of the season. I think it's about as perfect of a mathematical depiction of comparing or ranking sports teams as you can have in professional sports.
Agreed.
But it does leave out a few things. Vibes, feels, hopes, dreams, healthy skepticism, etc. So your pals at the Into the Channel podcast have created a proprietary tiering system that not only considers on-field results, but all of those other qualities as well. So here's what I did. I logged all of the inputs. Picture me in a dark room, a single light bulb dangling above me.
Mm-hmm.
I logged all of those inputs on an Apple IIe computer, and out of my printer of that old blue and white paper with like the perforated edges with the circle, like the holes punched in the side.
Dot matrix.
Thank you. And from that printer on that beautiful paper came the results that we will for now call the Into the Channel NWSL tiers. My last disclaimer here is that there's no guarantee that these tiers will reflect every club's current placement on the table. That's what makes our tiering system so special. So if your club is in the bottom tier this week, that could change depending on the performance or other factors. I don't know about you, but if you're looking for the very straightforward table, I just go to the FootMob app on my phone, type in NWSL, boom, I can look at the table. That's all available for you to find. But for the Into the Channel NWSL tiers, well, there's only one place you can get those, and that would be this fine program. So, Dino, do you have any questions or clarifications about this new system?
I don't think that I do. And it makes perfect sense to me. You know, you can't quite go to FootMob or FBref and sort by vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we need tiers. And just to clarify, these aren't power rankings.
No.
These aren't based on points on the table.
Mm-hmm.
We're simply going to group these teams together based on where we think the whole dish is settling, you know, with regard to this 14-course dinner. And I'm also guessing no homerism this week. So no Seattle, no Orlando.
Never.
At the very top of their own tier, all by themselves. I imagine we've got our old school journalism fedoras on with the index card tucked into the side with the word press on it, because that's just how we roll here at the ITC.
Damn right. Yeah, I mean, only the most unbiased of coverage, most unbiased of analyses on Into the Channel.
And we're going top to bottom, or bottom to top. Bottom to top?
Bottom to top, yes. An important clarification.
I'm ready.
All right. Bottom tier sounds derogatory, sounds negative. We're only in week 3 of the season. Nobody be alarmed here. First tier we're talking about, I'm calling this one I need to see more. This could be for a variety of reasons. All of these teams on this tier have left something to be desired in one way or another, or maybe there's something that I think might be somewhat promising or some good qualities about these clubs, but I still want to see some more. So I am going to start right here in my hometown, or at least the city that I live in, Seattle. I'm starting with the Seattle Reign. The link-up play in the attack really lives up to the title of this tier. It hasn't been going great. Now, obviously, we've talked about it. We have Ji So-yun, the retirement of Megan Rapinoe, the loss of Emily Sonnet, the loss of Rose Lavelle. A lot of moving parts here. So we need to see some more. We need to see that chemistry develop, I think, especially on the attacking side. But that's fine. You got to give these things some time. So show me some more.
I like it. I like the positive spin on the old bottom tier. Let's keep things optimistic. Let's keep things looking up. Respect to you. You got that fedora on, perfectly fitted. to start the bottom tier with your Seattle reign. So props to you again. Seattle, they've lacked some clinicality in the final third. 3 matches, 38 shots total, just 9 on target. That's right around 23%. We were talking about Barcelona last week. Tough to compare anybody to Barcelona, but they were up near 40%, just to kind of like put a little benchmark on that. Jordan Huitema specifically, that's a player I think we can look at with some room to improve. 8 shots for her on the season, second most on the team behind G. Just 1 on target for her, though, and 0 goals thus far. Any kind of Seattle turnaround is probably pretty dependent on Huitema getting things straightened out. So that's something we'll definitely keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Next, we have Houston Dash. All right, Houston. Great win versus Bay FC.
Mm-hmm.
And you are 4th in the table. It's also early April. So I am eager to see, can you score some more goals? And what can you kind of put together to build on what was, not a great season last year? So I feel like we are within our rights to have some level of, not skepticism in a negative way, but again, to the name of the tier, a reason to say, I want to see a little bit more.
Totally fair. Totally agree too. Houston Dash are only 1-1-1 team in the standings.
Nice.
They grinded out that tough road win over Bay FC.
Hell yeah.
In that franchise's first home game, which is always tough. Kind of feels like that first home game is like you get the extra.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit better production from this Dash side, who only managed 16 goals in 22 matches last season. Defense was solid, though, last year, just 18 goals allowed. Their goal differential, though, this year, to your point, already worse than last year. So they were -2 last year for the season. They're currently sitting at -3, having given up 7 goals in 3 matches. Their Mexican connection, Diana Ordonez and Maria Sanchez, have been pretty dangerous in spots. They're going to need a lot more from those two to stay in the playoff mix, though.
Totally agree. Ordonez looked great against Bay FC.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Angel City. To our pals out there in LA, you are already one of the premier franchises in this league. I know you have a good 90 minutes of football in you. We just haven't seen it yet in this young season. You got to show me more.
I had no arguments here as well. I did the math on this team. Not sure how correlated this is, or if your boy might be being a little ageist here. But this Angel City team, 6 starters over the age of 30. Average age for their starters, 27 and a half years old. Not a lot of spring chickens running around out there. And that's being pulled down significantly by 19-year-old Alyssa Thompson and 17-year-old Kennedy Fuller. -3 goal differential in 3 matches for them as well, and just a single point on the season thus far. I know we're talking NWSL tiers, but if this continues for old Angel City, it might be some tiers with a TEA.
Nicely done. Remember, folks, it's only week 3, so don't crush us too bad. We don't want cold takes exposed. We don't need that in our lives. This is a living, breathing document. Next, we have the Portland Thorns. You found a way to steal a point at home against Racing Louisville. Credit to you for doing it. But man, that does not sound like the Portland Thorns I know. 1 point, 3 matches played. You got to show me some more when you got a roster that looks like that.
Pretty bold, I think. Portland in this bottom tier, need to see more tier, not jumping to any conclusions tier, just
exactly
start the process of doing this analysis, this season-long analysis. To your earlier point, this is just the very beginning of April. The finals don't get here till November, so it's pretty much a lifetime away. With all that said, though, the Thorns looking tremendously wobbly this season, especially on defense. Lost at home to Gotham 1-0, escaped a home match against Racing Louisville with a draw, giving up 2 to them. And the Current, they score on everybody. But Portland gave up 5 goals to KC. Again, Portland winless on the season, 2 losses already. They're going to absolutely need to make some adjustments defensively. There's only so much Sophie Smith and that Portland attack can do up front. They're looking very gettable these days. I know that they were one of the chic preseason picks to kind of like go pretty deep. So a little surprising to see them in this bottom tier, but I think kind of where they should be based on what we've seen so far.
Imagine my surprise when I input all that data into my Apple IIe and it spit out these results. I may already owe Portland an apology for picking them to win the title this year. So that could be on your boy. So sorry about that. But like Dino said, it's early.
Be easy on us, freezing cold takes. That's all I'll say.
Next, the Utah Royals. Here's where we are so far. 3 weeks into their return to the league. Opening week, home loss to Chicago. Second week, relatively shocking win at home versus the North Carolina Courage, who looked dominant in their opening season match. And then third week of the season this past week, I think a relatively unsurprising loss in Washington, D.C. to the Spirit. I think this one kind of speaks for itself. Expansion franchise, relying on some young players. We like some of the moves they made, but we got to see a lot more before I think we start drawing any real conclusions about this club.
Yeah, I think playoffs are going to be a little bit of a stretch for this side. I kind of like their spirit, no pun intended. They're not very good yet, but they do fight. They do play hard. If you are a Royals fan, you have a player to get really, really excited about, and that's Ali Sentnor. Yeah. I mean, she goes first in the draft. I think our guy Chris from Soccer Dossier was not over the moon about her. I think he kind of clumped the very top of that draft altogether with regard to all right, well, these top 3 or 4 are like really in the mix for, I believe you asked him about who could be in the MVP conversation one day.
Sure.
So I kind of entered the season a little cooler on Ali Sentnor, even though she went first. And there's that tremendous track record of NWSL draft number 1 picks, just crushing it in the league. But she looks awesome. Unafraid, aggressive, 7 shots this season, 5 on target. So she's accurate as well. 2 goals already in her young career. And if she's going to be this kind of offensive threat, I think that's like legit a player that you can build around. She did have the tendency to kind of like, I don't want to say get lost a little bit, but there were some fast breaks where I'm just like, all right, this one's going to Sentnor. And then she's just not in the frame.
Right.
And then she shows up like 10 seconds later. I was like, okay, that was a little odd. So I think there's some growing up to do. I think for the whole team, to your point, this is an expansion team. Yeah. Expectations should be realistic. I think for them to even think about the playoff, conversation, even though it is top 8 this year, I think they're going to for sure need a rookie of the year type season from Sentnor.
Yeah, totally agree. Sentnor looks pretty great. Young player, going to have some growing pains. Willing to fire shots from around the 18. Love that part about her game. Yeah, I think you're totally right about that. A lot to be excited about if you're a Royals fan. Mm-hmm. Last team on the tier, Racing Louisville. Lost a 2-goal lead at home to your Orlando Pride. Played Houston to a scoreless draw, and then lost a 2-goal lead to Portland. Those 4 points that they kind of left on the table there, those might be important down the road.
Hard to disagree with that. Got to keep in mind, though, this is a team that finished 9th last season. On the flip side of your point, though, undefeated, never lost still.
That's true.
I think one bright spot for this Louisville side, Nigerian forward Uchenna Kanu, 3 matches, 3 shots on target, 3 goals. So I can go. No biggie. Just another absolute menace from that continent of Africa with a game built for the NWSL.
Hell yeah.
She's in her 2nd season for Racing after coming over from Linkoping in one of our favorite leagues, the Damallsvenskan.
Let's go. Love that experience. Okay, next tier. I'm calling this one, The Cavalry is on its way.